a lot of them just didn't like his ideas on cutting back on the military because they themselves were former military, and I'm sure they fear like not just cutting back on the number of fighters or missiles, but maybe against benefits for the VA and such. But some of the guys there were wounded veterans and work with wounded veteran advocacy groups and all that.
It's nice to have better tech and be better prepared than your adversaries too, right? I mean, it's not supposed to be a fair fight when you're an American. You're supposed to be OP.
In war in general, it's never supposed to be a fair fight. That's how you win.
I just mean Americans are supposed to be OP. Our guns are supposed to shoot straighter. Our drones are supposed to be superior. Our planes are supposed to be undetectable. Our ships are supposed to shoot from further away. Like America is supposed to virtually have cheat codes every time we get into war.
and it's pretty much mission accomplished with our military.
Yeah,
coming again to save the motherfucking day. Yeah, I mean when you spend $600 or $700 billion a year, your shit should be better. Right. I read that that F-35 program, because they got 3 of them, one for each branch, and they said that the 3 versions have drifted so far apart in design that it would have been cheaper to have designed 3 completely different airplanes from the beginning than what they've done. I always hear about just so many billions wasted, but I guess you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet, right? Like every project can't go perfectly. There's got to be some hiccups along the way if you're gonna have the best stuff. And arguably we do in most regards. I think there are some tanks out there that have.
Is it even arguably? Like we're pretty.
Yeah,
much
it is. So maybe I'm speaking out of school here, but just hanging out with the guys I was talking with that had served overseas a lot. Apparently, those Russian helicopters are just tough as nails. And I did see a vehicle or a video a while back of one taking a direct RPG hit. But you'd probably talk to someone who knows more about the Apaches versus the Russian counterpart, and they'd say, well, ours don't need to be tough. Nobody can fucking shoot ours or something like that. You know what I mean? So it seems that, yeah, we've got the best of a lot of stuff. But I hear about these supersonic or what do they call it? It's a different kind. It's these hypersonic missile systems the Chinese have that kind of make aircraft carriers obsolete. And I hear about how tough the Russian helicopters are and the British tanks. Some people say are superior because it was going along. They were working with. It was very similar to the Abrams, but theirs was just improved upon a lot of things the Abrams had done. So I don't know. I'm not an expert on that sort of thing, but you would hope that we had at least top tier of everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time we're fighting against like 1980s Soviet shit that's been sold to these.
I was just hearing recently. So Soviet's at war, I guess you'd call it, in Syria right now. And Russia, thank you, is at war in Syria right now, and they are using new jets, and apparently their new jets are pretty awesome. Like we're used to them, like, oh yeah, they're stuck in the 80s. Our stuff just mops up. They're out of the 80s now. They're now.
Well, yeah, the Russians have, but it's just like it seems like all the other bad guys, like the Iranians, whoever, I call them bad guys, and I'm sure it's all point of view, but
bad guys.
All them other bad guys.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. They're always flying those old Russian tanks and old Russian MiGs and stuff. But I was reading about, I guess they were using these drones that completely like black out the radar, and like we can't really tell what they're doing sometimes. And I thought that was advanced until I started talking to some of the military guys I was with this week. And they were talking about using EMP grenades in 2005 when they were serving in Iraq. And it's like, I was like, those are real? And they're like, yeah, it blacks out everything. And he's like, but then we got the drones. And we'd fly the drone in ahead of us. And every cell phone within like this huge radius just goes dead. Like none of them work. And so
That's
they
crazy.
could go in and hit people, and the people couldn't call and let anybody know that they were being hit. It was pretty cool to hear like the war stories, to be honest, like lots of cool war stories. They're talking about being in firefights, and like the one guy like had his head down in the Hummer taking cover as they were getting shot, and a guy shot him with a PKM right in the calf, and he was looking at his calf when it took the round, and he watched it go and like blood spray everywhere, and then he pulls out his phone, he's like, and then I took a selfie of myself, and he's got a selfie of him, and while he's taking the picture, someone's bandaging his leg up. So that was pretty cool, and we were actually shooting a PKM that day, so I got an idea of just how awful that would have been.
Jesus. Why would you take a selfie?
'Cause he's fucking Ranger. He's hard fucking core.
That's
maybe he just realized that he was about to live life on Easy Street.
That wasn't
his leg blown off, right?
Oh, it didn't. No, it just blew a chunk out. He bandaged it up and kept fighting. Like he got in another engagement where they're driving along. He looks out his window and he sees there's a car to his right. He said he looked in the car to his right, and there's a father and a son. And he remembered thinking, that boy looks like my boy. And then there's another car to the right of that car, and it starts swerving over and then goes off. The boy and the dad, their car completely explode. They're just insta-killed. His vehicle also explodes, but he's okay. But they're on fire inside the vehicle trying to get out. So it burned his ears up really badly, and it, skin hanging off their nose and stuff.
Did he look damaged when you saw him?
No.
No. Okay.
His hand was burnt pretty badly, but not in the way that's disfiguring. More like what I had, where like eventually you just really can't even tell. Mm-hmm. And he was just, he was kind of sad. It was a sad moment there, when you talked about the boy dying and exploding, and then he was like, but then they didn't know how to bandage ears up. Nobody knew how to bandage an ear, so I had these big elf ears that I was wearing that I was wearing around the base. Everybody was laughing at us because our ears were all burnt up and crispy and black, and yeah, so it was interesting hearing all those war stories from those guys. They've been in lots of actual firefights, and
I don't know if it's obviously true with the special forces. I'm not sure if it goes all the way down the line to like a regular infantryman, but the way the special forces guys head toward the danger is remarkable to me. Like, I saw. Go on.
When I'm told a story about Chris Kyle being involved with a thing where there was an 8-year-old kid up on a building shooting a gold AK down at the troops.
Chris Kyle, Medal of Honor recipient, right? Do I have the guy right? Yeah.
Yeah. There's an 8-year-old kid shooting a gold AK down at the troops. Apparently, Saddam would give his lieutenants a gold AK, so anyone who saw them would know this guy's got power. Like, do what he fucking says. And nobody wanted to shoot the kid, but they're taking fire. And they said Chris Kyle went out and took the kid out, and he was like, it's him or us. It's him or us. He's up there just raining bullets down on my guys as we're friends. There was a lot of sobering stories told during that trip.
Tim Kennedy
that sounds so depressing.
Was talking about how his friend died, and I guess the thing that he really clung to was the fact that he died rushing toward the gunfire, and it took a lot of shots to kill him. Oh God, I'm not a military guy, but it seemed like a movie almost. Like most people die when you shoot them. This guy got like shot in the leg, and he's like, well, I can still limp toward him. Then he gets shot in the arm, and he's like, well, I can shoot left-handed. And then he eventually got headshotted, if I remember the story right. And he was just like, it's rough. And the special forces community is apparently very tight, so everyone's like calling everyone, and this guy's down, this guy's down. And but he took great solace, I think it's the word right, in the fact that he died headed toward the danger. Like that's how they all would want to go. If they're going to drop, it needs to be running toward the gunfire. And it's pretty badass. If you were to talk to like 19-year-old me, it'd be like, yeah, that sounds like a great job. How do I sign up? Can you promise me that I'll be the guy that has to run toward the gunfire? Because I don't want any of those other I don't want to sign up, roll the dice, and find out that I'm not in death's way all the time. You got to assure me of that. 42-year-old version of me, that's what I am now, is like, like, I don't, no death, thank you.
Yeah.
No, this is. I'm good here.
That's why they got to get those guys young. They still have all the testosterone and pent up aggression to unleash there. Like
their frontal lobes are not fully developed, and they're much easier to break down and build up again in the new mold that you want for them.